Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, it is right now. You are right here. My name is Manuel, and it's my pleasure to welcome you. Today is day 11 of the show, and I have to congratulate you for making the best decision of the day to spend some time with me. Let's get started. Once again, Don Lemon is headline news. And once again, I'm discussing Don Lemon much sooner than I had anticipated. In fact, the last time was exactly a week ago today. And unfortunately for Don, it turns out the First Amendment does protect speech, but it doesn't protect poor judgment. Because what Don failed to understand is that when activism tries to hide behind the illusion of journalism without having the discipline that journalism demands, eventually the bill becomes due. Don Lemon just got that bill, and brother, the tax on it might be pretty brutal. If I had only a few seconds to make just one point, it would be that good intentions, or what you tell yourself are your own good intentions, do not change the category of your actions. That's it right there. That one sentence could be the whole show. Everything else is frosting on the cake. But I'm going to tell you a little secret about myself. I really love frosting. So let's get into it. Don Lemon just collided head on, full speed, no helmet, with the principle that I just mentioned. Whatever good intentions you profess don't change the category of your actions. This collision was not subtle. It was filmed, it was narrated, it was hashtag. And it really is kind of funny because the equation that Don used to get to this point goes something like this. I'm on the right side. People on the right side are doing journalism. Journalism is protected. Therefore, whatever I'm doing is protected. Don, that's not logic. That's confidence without understanding. That's not journalism. That's role playing intelligence. It's kind of like putting on a cape and thinking you can fly. Don, you can't. And now you put yourself in a position where you're hoping you survive the fall. A lesson to learn here is you don't become a journalist the way you become a Pokemon. You don't evolve mid trespass. You remember last week I mentioned there's a special kind of intelligence that believes filming yourself while chanting activist slogans magically transforms behavior into reporting. It's the same kind of intelligence that thinks that wearing a lab coat turns opinions into science. We've seen a lot of people like that. Way too many. Turns out Don is one of them. And I don't say that to be cruel. I say it because it's predictable. Honestly, in this case, it's kind of funny too, but Don probably won't see the humor in it. Don, I hate to tell this to you, but predictable mistakes, they are funny. You know that thanks to the late Scott Adams, I love reframes. So here's a reframe that makes everything snap into focus. Journalism is not a costume, it's a constraint. Real journalists do boring things. They're not meant to be rock stars or clowns. They don't participate, they don't chant, they don't join the performance. They observe, they verify, they maintain distance, especially from their own emotions. The moment anyone, especially a journalist, crosses from observer to actor, you're no longer documenting the event, you are the event. And reality has a very old, very boring rule for events. Now, what fascinates me here is actually not so much the individual story, it's the mindset behind it. What Don Lemon is showing us, without wanting to show us, is what happens when people confuse moral certainty with procedural immunity. They believe, if I feel righteous, I must be right. If I'm right, rules must bend. If rules don't bend, then the system's corrupt. At this point, we're seeing this every day. But notice what never appears in that chain: self-doubt. And that's the tell. Because the smartest people you'll ever meet are constantly asking, which category am I actually in right now? Am I reporting or participating? Am I informing or performing? Am I protected or just confident? Confidence without category awareness is like stepping off a cliff while you're lecturing others about gravity. You know, my goal is to always be useful. So let me warn you about a trap you might already be falling into. If you're listening to this and thinking, well, this could never happen to me, I'm not dumb like Don Lemon. I'm sorry, but you're already at risk. Because the real lesson isn't about famous morons. It's about mind reading, which is something we discuss regularly. It's about assuming you know. It's assuming you know how the law will interpret your actions. It's assuming you know how institutions will respond. It's assuming you know how reality will grade your intentions. Reality doesn't grade on intent, it grades on behavior. It isn't about what you thought you were doing, it's about what you actually did. And it does so mercilessly grade you on those things. So, for those of you who are actually outraged by this, those of you sounding alarms about First Amendment violations or punishing a journalist for his political speech, take a breath for a moment. Do the following and be honest with yourself about it. Strip away the personalities and ask yourself one question. If someone I really disagreed with, someone I might even hate, did the same thing, would I still call it journalism? If you love Rachel Maddow but hate Tucker Carlson, would you be upset if this was happening to him? If the answer is no, you just caught yourself mind reading. You're self-aware, though. You're able to be honest with yourself, and that is a win right there. Finally, the punchline I can't resist that I have to repeat from last week is that journalism, it turns out, does not function as an invisibility cloak. If you live stream yourself crossing a line while insisting the line doesn't exist, reality eventually live streams back. That's not oppression, that's feedback. Okay, that's enough for today. We'll continue tomorrow. And as always, be useful.